Board meeting to order. If you join me in the pledge, today is Veterans Day. Thank you, Roger, for serving. Are there any veterans in the audience? No? Hey.
Yes, there you go.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
please. Approval of the minutes from the village board of October 28th. Motion, please.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second. Is that Fran?
Yeah.
Barely here, Fran, I'm sorry.
Oh.
Any discussion on those minutes? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's carried. Special board meeting from November 3rd. Can I have a motion on that, please?
Make a motion to approve the minutes of the special board November 3rd.
Second.
Any discussion on those minutes? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that's sorry, you can't oppose it. Okay. All right, let's cover public comment. Provide 2-minute opportunity for citizens to voice their opinion. Village board cannot respond as it may conflict with the meeting requirements. They will address the village board. Hi, Nance. Name and address, please.
Yes, sir. My name is Nancy Washburn. You can pull that in. I'm not going to touch it. I'll break it. Nancy Washburn, 7450 County Line Road, Mount Pleasant, Wisconsin. Just as a follow-up to your committee of the whole discussion of the plan commission. I don't know if this is helpful to you or not. I do sit on the plan commission and I am a trustee in Mount Pleasant. And I will tell you that in our plan commission agendas, we do not have public comment for the very reasons that Todd mentioned. There's only 2 board members. There's absolutely no way to discuss anything during that time or make really recommendations. So public comment is limited to the board meetings. However, every item on the plan commission agenda, anyone in the audience is invited to speak. So in other words, as the items come up, then the chair of the plan commission addresses the audience. Is there anyone here that would like to speak to this item after the presentation of the item has been made? So just a thoughtful comment and follow up if you're, as long as you're trolling Mount Pleasant tonight, I think. Be that in the dark sky. Yeah, I don't have that memorized.
Seeing none, we'll move on to item 6A, ordinances and resolution, ordinance 2025-13 to amend Title 7, Chapter 15, Section 2 related to tax exempt reports and fees. Went through the committee, the whole was approved. Can I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2025-13. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Very discussion on the ordinance. Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ordinance carries. Ordinance 2025-14 to create Title 5, Chapter 3, Section 3, regulation of the sale, application, and use of coal tar and high PAH sealant products. Committee of the whole was approved 6-0. Any dis-
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2025-14.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
I have a second. Motion second, or discussion on the regulation, on the ordinance? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution 2025. Yep. Resolution 2025-085 approving and authorizing the village of Caledonia to enter into an agreement with Paramedic Billing Services Incorporated. Also went through committee of the whole, approved 6-0. Can I have a motion, please?
Make a motion to approve resolution 2025-085.
Second.
Sorry.
Me.
Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution carries. Resolution 2025-086, approving a building site and operations plan for the construction of a 9,440 square foot commercial building for the purpose of semi-trailer storage and repair facility located along US Highway 41, village agreement under the property agreement dated November 12, 2009, between the village of Denali and the village agreement. The planning commission is approved 5-0.
Make a motion to adopt resolution 2025-086.
Need a second?
Second, as long as it's.
Holly, did you second that? Who seconded it, Holly?
As long as it's spectacular, nothing to
You
do.
just seconded it.
All right.
Okay, any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution carries. Resolution 2025-87, approving the final plat for Thomas Free Farm subdivision. To the planning commission by roll vote. Motion on this item.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2025-087.
Second. Any discussion on this item?
Yeah, I just have some questions about it.
Okay.
In particular about the access to 5 Mile Road. Are there some of those lots, Steve, that do not have 5 Mile Road access? When we did this whole thing, I had some concerns about the safety of the access of small lots going on 5 Mile Road. I also think you added sidewalks, right?
Ryan, can you comment on it?
Access to 5 Mile was restricted to bare minimum amount of lots. There was additional roads bisecting the parcel in order to make more side street facing lots. So I guess the answer is yes, restricted.
Okay, thank you.
The next,
Yeah.
okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved, thank you. Oh, I'm not, move my thumbing fast. Okay, resolution 2025-88, approving a waiver of 14.35B conservation easement for Homestead Acre subdivision, authorizing acceptance of preservation easement and authorizing an amendment to the development agreement to address the waiver. I'm sorry, no motion on this.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2025-088.
Second,
Have a second?
I seconded.
Is there any discussion on this motion?
Yeah, I have some discussion.
What would you like to say?
Well, I think the concept of a preservation agreement is not necessarily a bad thing. This is the first time we've seen this particular tool come forward. And what we didn't know as the planning commission was what came to the planning concept of a preservation agreement. The language is reasonably good, but also very good, and I've had good conversations with Pete and Elaine on it. There's a policy decision buried in here, and it's on 7B, and that really is, you might call it revenue, where the village is obligated or not obligated to actually step in to manage the stewardship plan if it, for annual assessments, basically. I understand what Elaine is saying about ministerial liability and exposure, but I think from that standpoint, the full board should be able to have some discussion, understanding there is a policy buried in here, and do we agree with it? Are we aware of what the risks are or the advantages of it? Just so that this is a tool I think we will see come back before us again as a preservation easement, because it can make very good sense, so I just want to make sure we do it right.
I want to say that I commend the developer for this preservation easement, because to me, it's an ingenious way to accommodate the preservation of open space in a situation where there isn't a conservation easement holder. So I'm very glad that, so thank you, Nancy, for doing that. And it seems to me that the policy decision is so clearly embedded in the preservation easement, that is, that it may or may not be enforced, that I don't see that it requires a lengthy discussion. To me, it leaves open the possibility for a future board to take steps or not take steps based on whatever those circumstances are. So I'm in favor of leaving it as is, and I'm grateful to the developer for for proposing it.
Thank you. Okay, any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye. And it's really not on the bottom, but on the embedded.
Resolution 2025-89, President Village President executed drainage easement with Edwards and check trust dated 4/25/2006. And a motion, please.
I'll move to approve resolution 2025-089, but I'm hoping to keep the resolution.
I'll second it with explanation.
Okay, so would you like the explanation on all three of them, Brad?
Yeah, I assume it's the same.
Would you,
Absolutely.
thank you.
So essentially, these three drainage easements, are 3 of 16 easements that are required for the Turtle Creek Restoration Project. We had partnered with Root Pike Wind a few years back in order to put together an initial design. We put together a relocation order several years back, which allowed the village to start obtaining these easements. And we are now starting to actually get these easements signed by the property owners in the anticipation of doing the Turtle Creek Restoration Project, hopefully in 2027. It is a grant-based project, trying to make sure we wrap up all of the stuff first.
So is this something where they're returning it to a more natural waterway?
That is correct.
Where is it?
Turtle Creek is between Middle Road and the Klima Ditch, north of 5.
Okay, all right. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution 2025-90, authorizing the village to execute drainage easement permit with Marcia. Yeah, aye.
Aye.
For Roadville Trust.
Move to approve resolution 2025-090.
Brad? Motion second, any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution 2025-91, authorizing the village president to execute a drainage with Driftwood Living Trust dated 2015.
Move to approve resolution 2025-090.
Discussion on this motion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? New business, approval of AP checks. Mike, would you?
Mr. President, I submit for approval checks in the amount of $2,435,312.50.
Second.
Second, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Checks are approved. Discussion on December meeting dates. Madam Clerk, did you have some ideas?
So council just discussed it internally, and came up with some ideas on what you think might work, but you guys decide, so I think we waiting, wanting to have checks approved before we go on to presentation. We thought that having it, what did we say, Monday, the 22nd? November? No,
December.
Monday, the 22nd, it's Monday, Tuesday, the 23rd.
I don't,
That's up to you guys.
this is a waiting to big bills.
And why is it 23rd too late?
No, it's not.
Oh.
We just didn't know if you wanted to meet on the.
Oh, on the 21st. Yeah.
Are you gonna find? It should be okay, I don't know. Go to the 22nd.
So we're on 22nd.
We need a motion.
Wait, we're on the 22nd. Oh, sorry.
We're gonna go to the 22nd. 23rd is Tuesday. Right. So if you're okay with that, we just have to move it if we'll have a forum.
But we can move to the 22nd. We have a month.
Aren't we all just saying we'd rather have it on the 22nd?
That's fine. Monday.
So we just need a motion to move the meeting, the regular meeting.
I'll make
to
a
the
motion to
22nd.
move the meeting of December 23rd, 2025 to December 22nd, 2025.
Right.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Discussion of possible action setting date and procedures for administrative review hearing filed by the storage shop. Elena, do you want to enlighten us a little bit?
Yes, so the village received, a notice of a request for an appeal. A notice of appeal, an administrative appeal from Evan Saladine for Caledonia Storage, USA, I think is the name. And from a procedural standpoint, there was already an internal administrative review and decision on review that was issued by your village administrator. So all that's in your packet is a copy of that notice of appeal, and that's on purpose. Because under Title IV of your code, it provides then that there needs to be an appeal now of that prior determination. And so it's in front of the board to decide who should hold that appeal. And staff is recommending that the village board be the one who holds that appeal and to be the impartial decision maker on that appeal. So that's why you only have that initial letter from Evan Saladine on behalf of the entity. So the appeal relates to the imposition of certain fees under the village's code of ordinances, and it also is a part of that coupled with a request for a waiver and modification under Title IV. So I don't want to get into the specifics because we want to help preserve the record on it, and it also preserve your impartiality in hearing that. So there's some timelines under Title IV that we need to follow. One of which is we need to hold a hearing within 30 days of the notice of appeal, receipt of the notice of appeal from Mr. Saladine. So that was received on, I believe, November 3rd of this year. So we're recommending at this point, in order to comply with that, that we schedule the hearing for Tuesday, November 25th, on your regular meeting night. As a part of that, we're also asking that, because this hearing is going to take a little while, and that village board agenda right now looks pretty short, that we skip the committee of the whole meeting for that night and just move right from village board to the hearing in this matter from a procedural standpoint. So, does that work for the board? I want to go into other parameters, but just from a scheduling standpoint, are you okay with that approach?
Do you have any time estimates at all?
We were going to notice it up for 6:30 p.m. And have your regular meeting be at 6. And if we're running a little bit behind, we would do the public notice that we need to give for the meeting. Then it would start immediately after the conclusion of the village board meeting. It's probably going to take a couple hours. So, and I'll walk through some additional parameters, but that would be the first point. If you're okay with that, it would be that you would be directing, and I'll help you frame up a motion, which is why I passed out a draft notice of hearing, to help you do that. So the first point would be that, are you okay that it would be held in front of the village board proper versus appointing somebody to be an impartial decision maker?
What would be that? What option is that?
You could appoint a third party to be an impartial decision maker, but there would be costs for that. And so we're recommending that the village board hold that hearing.
And this is a kind of a quasi-judicial thing where we take evidence?
Yes.
And there will be instructions to the board on what evidence can be considered and not considered, and who's going to make objections?
Yes, and I'll get into that in just a second, but just as a threshold, are you okay with that date? Or is everybody good with that? We're gonna have a quorum here, okay. Yes, okay. Okay, so secondly then, the other part would be, as a part of this process, as Fran just mentioned, it's a quasi-judicial hearing. An important component to that is that we need to have an attorney advise the board, and then staff also needs an attorney to advise the staff in defense of the decision that was made previously. So we've recommended, to engage half of advising the village board to preserve the impartiality outside counsel. And previously, the village has worked with Attorney Todd Terry. We brought him in other litigation-related matters that the village has been involved in. And so we're recommending to engage Todd Terry and his firm to act as an advisor to the village board as a part of these proceedings. And then our office, Pruitt Kasangiri, would assist the village staff in defense of the decisions that were made as a part of that presentation. So this, again, is a quasi-judicial hearing. The village board would take evidence on the matter as a part of the hearing. You would hear from witnesses in testimony form. You would receive evidence, and then you would hear as a part of that, both parties would have opportunities to present. So it really is a mini court hearing, for lack of a better description right now. And so Todd Terry would be the one advising. So later on your agenda, there's actually an engagement agreement for that. And so we would be recommending that you take action on that tonight to get him engaged so that he can work for the board and advise the board.
So for one thing, this has to happen within 30 days of his filing.
Yes.
Because really one thing I'm wondering is what's the relative cost between our paying 2 attorneys and hiring a third party to be the impartial decision maker?
Well, the village would bear those costs.
Right, but I'm asking what, if we have an estimate of what those costs would be.
Well, it's a mini trial, so there's preparation that's involved. The attorney that's advising the village board will need to review what's been submitted to date by the petitioner or the appellant, asking for the relief from the village board. And there may be other procedural matters that need to get addressed by the attorney as a part of preparing for hearing. Obviously, there's going to be some preparation that's involved from our office to work with staff and review and get up to speed so that we can properly advise staff as a part of the appeal, and then also to appear with staff at the appeal. So there are costs to that. It's going to be, a few hours time for actually at the hearing, and then more than a few hours time to prepare for that. So Todd has agreed to match our regular rate for the village, which was nice. So that helps to keep costs down because, our rates, I would say, are lower than average for the municipality than if you're on the private market. So that's helpful. And an estimate of time. I mean, I've seen these take anywhere from, a few hours worth of time to several hours. I mean, it could be 10, 15 hours of time with each of the attorneys. That's
Right.
a really rough estimate. Don't hold me to it.
Right, what I'm asking for is a comparison of, I get that it's a rough estimate because it's sort of an unknown quantity to a certain extent, but a rough estimate of that expense compared to whatever it would cost us. I think you said we could hire a third party to be the.
But I think we still have to pay
Well, the difference in cost. Well, you would still need to have the attorneys involved. So that, yeah, so that would be, no, that would be a cost on top of having the attorneys involved. Because there's a conflict of interest for us to assist staff and also then advise the board. So we need to have another attorney. Sorry, I misunderstood the question. So,
Is this appealable?
it is appealable to circuit court. If either party, meaning the village proper, or village staff proper, or the appellate do not like the decision that is received after hearing, they could appeal it. Either party could appeal to circuit court for judicial review. And that's a writ of certiorari process.
Has there been any?
Not that I'm aware of, but I wouldn't forego the possible bringing forward of a settlement to the village board, and then Todd Terry will be able to advise the village board on the efficacy of that.
discuss something like that in a closed session, but it seems to me that ought to be a topic that we.
It might be. I'm not foreclosing that, but we have to prepare for the hearing at this point. So in terms of looking for village board action, I passed out a notice of hearing, also addressing some parameters for the hearing that we would be recommending. These have also been reviewed with attorney Todd Terry as well. Again, the hearing would be on Tuesday, November 25th at 6:30 p.m. before the village board. And we would be recommending the following, that the village board take action to direct that the clerk issue the notice of hearing. 2, that the village board authorize a stenographer to be retained for the hearing, to actually, like a court reporter, take down the proceedings of the hearing, so we have a good record in the event that there's an appeal. There's a cost, an estimated cost right now for that of about $700. But we do think that's the best method to record the hearing versus a recording. 3, to set a deadline for the parties to exchange witness lists and submit them to the Office of Attorney Todd Terry by November 21st. 4, authorize your village president to address pre-hearing matters and be the primary contact for Attorney Todd Terry, and to issue any requested subpoenas with a deadline for parties to request subpoenas of November 18, 2025. 5, that the parties pre-mark exhibits with exhibit stickers noted as appellate and village staff, and be required to bring 4 copies to the hearing, 1 for each party, 1 for special counsel, and 1 for the board. You'd have to share that, make arrangements to make sure you get adequate copies for your decision making. 6.
Yeah, sorry, can I ask a quick question? Are we able to, before, I know we're supposed to be an impartial decision making, but is there a way to resolve this at the board level without having an appeal?
It's possible that there may be a resolution presented, but that's not the point at where we're at. We have to set the parameters for the hearing and start that process. And if there is a global possibility to resolve it, we'll either bring it forward as an extension request, meaning an extension of the 30 days, or an actual stipulation to be presented to the board at that time.
I would urge that be explored vigorously.
Holly, I think what you're asking too is if we look at the cost of all the attorneys involved versus we don't know the cost. The town will do it, so which is the balance.
We don't know the details of the case, is it something that's not amicable to begin with?
Right.
We don't even know.
Maybe it's a closed session.
Yeah,
Just a couple of comments. So we have some requirements under the ordinance that we need to comply with. So that's what we're doing here. We also had to provide notice of the hearing at least 10 days prior to the appellate. So we need to initiate the process, but it does not foreclose the ability to reach a resolution. I cannot advise you on that resolution because I am not going to be the village board's attorney in these proceedings. So is it possible? Yes. I'm going to say stay tuned on that. I get the cost concerns. I think there are policy and cost concerns that are practical, but we don't have that to present to you today, but we need to get the process initiated.
Okay. If it wouldn't be, because I think what we're saying is maybe the most efficient and cost saving method is to have some kind of a resolution or a settlement. If it wouldn't be you, who would be conducting those discussions?
It would be our office reaching out to Mr. Salentine to talk with him and staff about that. And then we would present that possible settlement to Attorney Terry, and then Attorney Terry would come in and talk with the board about it.
but is there enough time? We have to do this, and I understand that part of the ordinance. But if we're having the hearing on the 25th already, is that enough time
It may be, or we may agree to extend, but we need to initiate the process, and then we may come back with an extension. We need to get this piece done and notices out.
Yeah, this is a 30-day, I know, that's 30.
Do you need action by us on this?
Yes, a couple more pieces, I just wanted to read this, yes, no problem. So, there would be the exhibit, requirements and to bring the list of exhibits to the hearing. 6, the order of case presentation, that, testimony, witnesses, exhibits, and argument would be first the appellate and second village staff. Because it would be the appellant's case, they requested the appeal. And then, 7, that attorney Todd Terry, in consultation with the village president, may establish additional pre-hearing and procedural requirements to facilitate an effective and efficient hearing in this matter. So we would ask that the village board take action to establish the date, establish that the hearing is coming in front of the board, establish that the date be November 25th of 2025 to begin at 6:30, and then the 7 parameters that I just read that are outlined on the draft notice of hearing that we provided to you. So that would be the motion. And then if there's anything else you felt that should be addressed, we could certainly include that as well.
November 25th, is that what you said?
Yes. It would be a motion, we'd be recommending a motion that the village board, so move to direct that the hearing be held before the village board on Tuesday, November 25th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. and that the hearing parameters 1 through 7 as set forth in the draft notice be included as part of the notice that's given to Mr. Savage.
Right. I'll make a motion that the hearing in the Administrative Appeals Court Shop USA Television Project be set for hearing on Tuesday, November 25th, 2025, to begin at 6:30 p.m. to be held before the Village of Caledonia Village Board in the main meeting room at Village Hall, 43 Chester Lane, Caledonia, Wisconsin 52402, subject to the conditions 1 through 7 in the draft notice presented to the board.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, we're going to further discussion. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Carried.
I agree.
We have resolution 2025-092, which is to hire the special counsel for the same.
Okay,
I'll make the motion to hire the resolution 2025-09.
second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's carried. We'll take about 5 minutes break. Village Board will go into closed session for the following reasons pursuant to S 19851G, Wisconsin statute conferring with legal counsel to the government body who is rendering oral written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation for which it is in or likely to become involved in. Wisconsin statute 1928-51E, deliberating and negotiating between public properties, investing unpublic funds, or conducting a specified public business when a competitive session, specifically to address the agreement between the village and Alberto Kowski. Was it John Kowski? Thank you for and keeping previously declared prohibited release of claims executed on March 9th, 2025. 2, pursuant to 1925, Wisconsin statute deliberating and negotiating purchasing of public property and investing public funds for specified public business. Members of the private reasons require specifically to discuss possible developments in Bid 6, including 2 different developments, one of which is F Street LLC, and pursuant to 1928-51A, Wisconsin statute body who is all written advice concerning strategies to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation and water. The motion likely become about specifically discuss a notice of potential material change circumstances for the scene area, intergovernmental center, sewer service rendering, revenue sharing, cooperation and settlement. Two, and pursuant to 19.8 C, Wisconsin statutes considering employment, promotion, compensation, performance, evaluation, of any public employee over which the government body has jurisdiction or exercise responsibility, specifically to conduct village administrator's annual review. Roll call.
President Weatherston.
Yes.
Oh. There's so many. Trustee Martin.
Yes.
Trustee McKenna.
Yes.
Trustee Members.
Yes.